Hey guys, this is your mama, and by now I've been gone for a few nights, and I love y'all so much and miss you so much that I thought you might like to hear a little story from me. So I have chosen two of my very favorite books of yours. This one, The Princess and the Three Knights for Pris, and this one, Even Firefighters Hug Their Mamas, for my Amen. So I'm going to start with Little Ashton's. This is for you, Betty. My name is Big Frank, and I'm a firefighter. Every morning I get up and look at the newspaper to find out where the fires are. Then I get dressed up in my protective gear. Can you see? If not, follow along with the book. My air tank and face mask help me breathe even if the smoke is as thick as a milkshake. I climb onto my hook and ladder truck and drive to the fire. Sometimes firefighter Sally comes with me. When we get to the fire, we rush into the burning building. How about a hug, my mom asks as I run by. Too busy fighting fires, I say. Even firefighters hug their mamas, she says. My name is Officer Dave, and this is Rex, my police dog. We stand guard at the door, and when criminals come by, I announce it on a loudspeaker to warn everyone. Stand back, I say, criminals coming through. Then we lock up all the criminals in jail. My mom walks by. Don't worry about your safety, ma'am, I say. We've got you covered. How about covering me with a hug, she asks. No time, I say. We've got to serve and protect. Even police officers hug their moms, she says. Poor Mommy. My name is Joe, and I'm an EMT. That's short for Emergency Medical Technician. My partner Junior is in training. I'm teaching her everything I know. Over the radio, we hear about an accident, and we spring into action. We bandage up the man's cuts and scrapes and put him in the stretcher. We give him a bowl of ice cream to make him feel better. Then we race to the hospital. We keep the siren on the whole way. Wee-oo, wee-oo, wee-oo. My mom is waiting at the hospital. Can I have a hug? She asks when we get to the emergency room. Trying to save lives here, I say. Even ambulance drivers hug their moms, she says. Maybe ambulance drivers do, I say, but I'm an EMT. My name is Dan, and I'm a construction worker. I drive a front loader. I make the big yellow light flash when I back up. The beep, beep, beep tells everyone to get out of my way. Sometimes people watch me at work, and they ask if they can help, and I say, thanks, but no thanks. Better leave the heavy work to the pros. Can you take a coffee break and give me a hug, my mom shouts. Coffee break's over, I shout back. Even construction workers hug their moms, she says. I am Captain Steve, and I am a helicopter pilot. I work for the Coast Guard. I rescue people from their boats during hurricanes and tornadoes and other gigantic storms. My partner uses a winch to pull them to safety. Can I hug the hero, my mom asks? I shake my head. It's just part of my job, I say. Even helicopter pilots hug their moms, she says. Whoop, 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 whoop. Go the blades. Sorry, I can't hear you, I yell, pointing up at the blades. Poor Mommy. My name is Sam, and I'm the conductor of this train. Tickets, please. I call to the people waiting to get on. I take their tickets as they board. One of them tries to sneak a pig on board. No farm animals, I say. This is a passenger train. What do you get when you buy a ticket? The lady asks. You get a ride to Chicago, I say. Snacks? No, but you can buy food in the dining car. Hugs? No hugs. Only a ride to Chicago. Even conductors hug their moms, she says. Woo, woo, goes the whistle. All aboard, I say. This train is leaving the station. My name is Neil, and I am an astronaut. This is my rocket. Yesterday I went to the moon. Don't believe anyone who tries to tell you it's made out of cheese. It's made out of rock, trust me. Today I am going to Mars. I radio mission control. When they give me the thumbs up, I blast off. What's Mars made of, my mom asks. I tell her Legos. I'm surprised you came back, she says. I'm here to get my Lego men, then we're headed back again, I say. Any chance you'll give me a hug first, she asks. No, I say. Wait just a minute, Buster, she says. I gave you directions to Mars. A quick hug doesn't seem to be too much to ask. I shrug. Well, it's a little hard to hug me when you're wearing this bulky spacesuit. Huh, she says. Even astronauts hug their moms. My name is Rick, and I am a garbage truck driver. I stop at each house and pick up trash, like the worn-out toasters and slimy food wrappers and pacifiers that are bad for babies' teeth. I turn on the crusher and it smashes everything down to so more trash can fit. It goes clunk, work, Whenever a lady throws something out by mistake, I get it back for her. Sometimes the lady is so happy she tries to give me a hug, and I let her because even garbage truck drivers hug their moms sometimes. I wish I had a big hug from you, amen. But this hug's for you. I love you more than any mama ought to be allowed. Now, this one is for my sweet Pris because I love, love, love her, and I love, love, love this story. The Princess and the Three Knights. There once was a princess, the fairest one in all the land, and in the busy streets and cozy houses of the village, everyone knew about the great and rare beauty of the princess. The village children waited for her to pass by just for a chance to look into her shining eyes. For you see, as beautiful as the princess was, her greater beauty came from within. Every eligible young knight was interested in marrying the king's daughter. Many wanted the hand of the princess because of her beauty. Others thought she could make them rich. The king decided that only a knight who treasured the princess for who she was on the inside would be worthy of her hand in marriage. For this reason, the king agreed to stage a competition to find the one knight with a heart as beautiful as that of his daughter. The competition would involve tests and challenges to determine which knights possessed great courage and strength, deep loyalty and kindness, and most of all, a deep faith in God. So the games began. The knights fixed houses and ran races. They found their way through the treacherous dark forest outside the village. They lifted barrels of water and cleared fallen tree limbs from the king's field. They wrote essays on loyalty and faith. Over time, the list of potential husbands for the princess was narrowed to 3 worthy knights. One night, the king had decided that the one knight that passed the king's test, the king sensed that he was arrogant. Another was strong and brave, but the king felt that he was driven by greed. The last knight was loyal and kind, but the king still wasn't sure he was the right fit for the princess. And so the king developed a final test, the most important test of all. The village sat on a hill near a sharp, steep cliff overlooking the sea. The king staged the final competition not far from this treacherous cliff. In a booming voice, the king announced, "The last competition is for horsemanship. You will pretend that the princess is riding with you and race your horse as fast and as hard as you can straight for the drop-off. We will see which of you can take the princess closest to the cliff without going over the edge." The men straightened in their saddles. The first knight smiled at the crowd and adjusted his armor. His heart was beating hard, but he refused to show his fear. The second knight glanced at the princess and imagined how rich he would be if only he could get his horse closest to the edge of the cliff. His hands trembled on the reins, but greater than his fear was the possibility of more riches than he had ever dreamed of owning. The third knight was calm, his eyes bright. In his heart he remembered words his father had told him. "I can do everything through God who gives me strength." He quietly whispered these words over and over again. The crowd grew quiet in anticipation. The first knight gave a nod to the king. "I can get the princess within a foot of the edge of the cliff." A stirring of awe and amazement came to the village people. When the noise died down, the king raised his hand. "Very well," he announced. "Begin." With the wind in his face, the first knight tore across the field. The villagers held their breath, and the first knight headed for the drop-off. With a pull of his reins, the first knight stopped his horse exactly 1 foot from the edge of the cliff. The villagers marveled at the feat and clapped for the knight. "Surely," one of them said, "this will be the man awarded the hand of the princess." The second knight stared at the king, confidence blazing in his eyes. "I," he said, "can take the princess 6 inches from the cliff without going over." Now the people raised their voices. "He's crazy," they shouted. "He'll plunge to the ocean below," another screamed. But the second knight silenced them. "I can do this," he said, "and I can and I will." A hush fell over the crowd. "Very well," the king gave the command. "Away you go." The stallion burst across the field. Faster and faster the second knight flew toward the edge of the cliff, until suddenly the horse and rider came to a grinding halt. 6 inches, the second knight shouted. Measurements were taken, and indeed, the knight had brought his steed 6 inches from the edge of the cliff. The princess stood a little closer to the king, her beautiful eyes wide and fearful. The crowd roared for the second knight. "Who could do better?" they yelled. "The second knight is a hero." As the townspeople settled down, the king turned to the third knight. "So tell me, young knight, exactly how close to the cliff can you bring the princess?" The villagers held their breaths, waiting for his answer, and for a long time the third knight looked deep into the eyes of the princess. Then he turned back to the king. "Your Majesty, I love the princess. She is more beautiful to me than anything in the kingdom." He lowered his reins. "I wouldn't take her anywhere near that cliff." "That," the king shouted, "is the right answer. Only a knight who would protect my princess is worthy of her hand." He smiled at the young man. "And so you shall have the hand of my daughter." The princess felt her heart take flight, for this was love. When the time came, her wedding was a grand celebration for the entire village. And over the years, the knight protected the princess again and again. For the knight was brave and strong, loyal and kind. But most of all, his faith in God had taught him that true love always protects. He cherished the beautiful princess all the days of her life, and they lived happily ever after. Just like I want you to live happily ever after, my sweet Pris. Okay, that's bednight story time. I love you all. Pickles around the world and back again, to the moon and back, and all the other little silly sayings that we say that mean we love each other the very most. I hope y'all are being really sweet to Cooner and really good to Daddy, but most of all, I hope y'all are being true to yourselves, and that people are seeing Jesus in you, and you're making good decisions, and that you are loving each other and being sweet. And I will see you in just a few nights. I'm praying for you every night, every day, and I know you're doing the same for me. I'll see you very, very soon. I love y'all more than any mama ought to be allowed. Good night.